Welcome back, traders. You can probably hear that I am back on my usual microphone today, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of these big moves that happen at the end of the year in 2023 and going into 2024. So as you probably know, either today or tomorrow, the SEC is going to approve, deny, or postpone the Bitcoin ETF. And we have been getting this nice run up in Bitcoin, as you can see here, since when was this? Since December 11th in anticipation of this move. We've seen a few big green candles here coming in on those, especially on like the first and the second here. Those are days that it was theorized that BlackRock was seeding their Bitcoin ETF in terms of buying Bitcoin for it. So that could have been that move here. And then this came down, and then 2 days before, so that was this Monday, we had a huge run up in the price of Bitcoin in anticipation of the approval potentially happening yesterday. It didn't happen yesterday, so we got this drop back down to about 45, and it's kind of looking bullish here with this big wick on the bottom for Bitcoin going into today, potentially tomorrow, and you can see it's shrinking as we watch right now, actually. So this could go up. If the approval happens, I suspect this will probably knock on the door of $50,000 in the next 48 hours, but maybe not. You can see we are much higher on a lower RSI. That is a bearish divergence that we're looking at there from this peak here, December 5th to today, in both in oversold territory. So that is something to keep watch on. If we break this upward channel here that we're currently in, so if we break this channel here, if we break it, we're going to probably come back down to the $36,000 range. But if the Bitcoin ETF is approved, then obviously that's not going to happen. We're probably going to go to the moon for a little while before cooling off. Let's have a look-see at Marathon Digital. This is becoming one of my favorite ones right now. I really want to honestly collect as much Marathon as I possibly can. When it starts to dip more, you can see that. Let me actually just show it on here. Come in here. Let's go to a 6-month outlook. Is it 1 month? I guess 1 month. We came to the top here at 31, and we came down 24% off of that, 22%. Like that's a pretty normal retraction there from peak to a pullback of 24%. That's pretty normal. We might be going back up from here. I would like to see it return, let me go to 6 months. I would like to see it come back down to maybe the 21 level or even the $17 level, because that's where you get more support than up here. Like we're basically just creating support now. There hasn't been support at this level really since 2022. There was a little bit at that level on the way down, and that's where we're getting stuck right now, but there's not much of it. The majority of the support is a lot lower, around the $18 to $16 range. So I would like to see this price kind of make a little double top here at $26 and come back down from there. That's what I would like to see. So I'd like to see it come up here, 26-ish right here, and then just start coming back down and get back into this downward channel that we have here. Let me go ahead and turn off the Bollinger Bands. I would like to see it come back into this. Let's go about right there. In comes that big one. I'd like to see it come back into this range here and come back down, maybe to the 17, maybe even down to the $12 range. I'd like to see that happen, because this very well could, let me see, right here, this could easily be a bear flag on a larger time frame. If we come out, let's have a look, see what that looks like on like a 3-day. Not quite. It's got lots of, these long wicks on the bottom do make me feel like it's probably still pretty bullish. I mean, I do want to see it, like this is a wedge, right? So we got right here, this to here, that is a wedge. I don't like that it's flat on the top and it's kind of building up. That's usually a move you see before a drop off. And if this drops off, we're looking at this level right here around that, $17 to $14 range. That's what we're looking at if this wedge breaks to the downside. So again, that is completely hinging on the Bitcoin ETF. Is the Bitcoin ETF going to get approved or not? We don't know. We just don't know. People are very positive about thinking it's going to happen, but that doesn't mean that it will. We're also super far away from the 5-day moving average, which is down here at 22. If we want to see a continuation, it's got to come down and bounce off the 5-day. If it doesn't bounce off the 5-day, if it goes below the 5-day, and closes beneath it, like this went below it, but it wasn't a close beneath it, so it wasn't a bearish move. That was actually a very bullish move coming back to it and bouncing. If we come back down to the 5-day and bounce, I'm pretty bullish about it retesting this 31. If it goes below here and closes beneath the 5, though, I'm looking at it to come down to the 20-day, which is down here around $16 in between my yellow and red line there. If that doesn't hold, 200-day. But Marathon right now, this is a bit of a bearish formation, this wedge. I don't like it, but again, that's completely hanging on what happens to Bitcoin right now. Let's take a look at HUT. HUT is trapped beneath the 5, or this is on the 2-hour. Let's go to 1 day. It's just as bad. So HUT is trapped beneath the 5, in between the 5 and the 200 moving average. That's bearish. Also, this formation right here, this is bearish. We got a shoulder, head, shoulder. That's this breaks underneath that 200. We're coming all the way down to about $11, maybe even lower, but probably get ready for HUT to come and visit this $11 range here off of this head and shoulders formation, with price currently trying to be under the 5-day, getting trapped in between the 5 and the 200. And then after that, we get trapped between the 200 and the 20. And then from there, we're just going down to 11. Now, that's not guaranteed, but that's what the technicals are saying. And again, that is if the Bitcoin ETF is not approved. Let's take a look at Bitfarms. Bitfarms, I like it, but I don't. So again, this is looking like a shoulder, head, shoulder. If we don't get an approval, this is setting up for a bearish move. So if the approval doesn't come through tomorrow, we're looking at this head and shoulder coming down. We get underneath, we get back into this downward channel. We're going all the way down to like 230, maybe even back down to this channel here around 215 or so. Let me drag that out a little bit, actually. Let's get it in there. Yeah, come back into this channel. Actually, you know what? That's too skinny. I don't want that. Go away. We'll probably come back to visit the 20-day moving average, maybe even the 200 down at $2. That's what I'm looking at here. This is setting up for a bearish move if Bitcoin does not get its ETF. That is exactly what this just up, shoulder, head, shoulder, and all it needs to do is come back down under 345, and we're probably going to come back to $2. So keep an eye on that. Now, if things get approved, we're looking at a nice big move up from here. It's just going to take off. These highs are going to look, these highs are going to be old news. We're going to go up into the $5-6 range, and that's what's going to happen there. Bit Digital is honestly looking a bit not bad, actually. It doesn't look bad here. I know this doesn't look great. Okay, so if I go to the 1 day, we're at the 5, right? We're at the 5-day moving average. This thing could bounce here. Bit Digital is always trying to be different from all the other miners. It's always like lagging and doing things a little bit different. This isn't showing a head and shoulders pattern. It did this big parabolic move, but it gave back all those gains. We went into this channel again. We're bouncing off the bottom of it. We're just barely, we're clinging to that 5-day moving average. The 20-day crossed up over the 200 and it's staying over it. This is smoothing out here. This thing is probably going to do, looking at it, probably kind of smoothing out for a bit, maybe dipping out of this and then coming back up to try to form a cup up here at some point. Yeah, or perhaps it'll come back down, test this line here at $3, but I don't really think it's going to go back below $3 anytime soon. We might tap $3 and then kind of bounce off of that, because that would be where we'd meet at the 20-day and kind of come back up to the 5-day from there. Bit Digital doesn't look weak, it doesn't look strong, it looks pretty neutral right now. RSI is on the daily is under 50, so that's not super bullish or anything, but it's also not super negative looking. It's still in that upward trend, so Bit Digital actually looks like it's holding its own right now, despite anything that's happening. Let's see, let's look at Clean Spark. This is a 2-hour. Let's go to the 1 day real quick. Let's just do the dailies on these. Clean Spark is looking a lot like Bit Digital. We're crossed up over the 50 on the daily. We got rid of this bearish RSI move, came down. We came down to that $9 level, nice below the 5-day. We came up, we reclaimed the 5-day moving average, and this is an upward trend here on CleanSpark. So honestly, CleanSpark, now you could argue and say, shoulder, head, forming a shoulder here. And if the Bitcoin ETF is not approved, we might see this come up to, 1150 or so and then fail and then come down, fill this gap down here, maybe come down to this support down here around 550, $5-ish. And that could happen. That could absolutely happen. But overall, I mean, Clean Spark chart looks pretty good right now, being completely honest. Looking pretty good. Oh yeah, this broke the bearish RSI broke, and there it came down there. Let me get rid of that one. So it's not terrible. I don't dislike the Bit Digital or the Clean Spark chart right now, despite any news that's coming through. But Marathon, I don't love Marathon. It's got that wedge. It's failing to get back above this $26 level. It's way above the 5-day moving average. It wants to come back down a little bit. HUT is looking scary where it currently is way down here. Like this could be something like the Bit Digital chart where it's a little similar, but the Bit Digital chart has like more previous upward movement behind it back over here. You can see like it was kind of moving up in this way, did parabolic, came back to baseline and kept going up. Whereas HUT was flat, went parabolic, came back and is looking like flat in a downward channel now. So that's the difference between what I'm seeing in HUT and Bit Digital right now. And also being beneath the 5-day, hugging the 200-day, that's a dangerous place to be on the chart. Whereas Bit Digital is hovering just above the 5-day, looking like it wants to move up a little bit more in there. That's the difference I'm seeing in those two charts. And then BitF, yeah, Bitfarms it's either if the Bitcoin ETF is approved, this is probably going to be very bullish. If not, they're setting up for a head and shoulders move down. Clean Spark again also looks pretty solid despite everything. And Bitcoin, yeah, it's this right now is at the top of the range. If we don't get an approval, honestly, even if we do get an approval, we might see price come back down to the center of this channel here, around 45, even $44,000, and just retest the top of this previous move here before moving on up. Even if we get the approval, that would be a healthy thing to do because on the daily we are, the 5-day moving average is down at 43,000. So like naturally, price wants to come back and touch that before continuing on up. So that 5-day needs to come up maybe a little bit more if it hangs out up here a few more days up to about 44,000, and then price needs to come back, tap it, and then continue on. As you can see, it likes to zigzag. But that's what we're looking at right now. Things are looking fairly bullish for the most part. We are expecting to see a bit of a dip going into the next month and a half. I am just sitting on my hands right now. I'm just waiting and watching the prices as they move and fluctuate and hopefully getting down to my price levels. Like Mara, I want to see it down at 16. HUT, I'd like to see it down around 11. Bitfarms, I want to see that closer to $2. Bit Digital, I would like to see Bit Digital at 3 or less. Clean Spark, I'd like to see Clean Spark around $6.50, $7 before I'm interested. Now, if it's like the 3rd week of March and that hasn't happened yet, I guess I'm just buying at higher prices and I'm going to have to accept that, and that's okay. But at this point in time, it looks like those prices are possible, so I'm going to continue to wait and see what happens. So anyways, that's the update for now. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a profitable day.